Hi, Sally. Thanks for joining me today on Founder Fuel series. Great to see you. And yeah, I'd love to just hear about your journey so far and how you got to be here and tell us all about Purple Playground.
Well, thanks for having me, Jodie. Look, we are Purple Playground, a weird name, but we have a serious business. I guess it's called Purple Playground for a reason, and we can get into that in a minute. But we ultimately exist for the last 7.5 years, really to elevate the impact of high growth businesses and purpose-driven brands, to really help them give them their competitive edge through their people. So what does that mean? It means everything HR related, right from recruitment, onboarding, employee value proposition, how to keep and retain your valuable employees, and all the way through to the other end around developing them and then exiting gracefully, regardless of
Mm.
what that circumstances are under.
Yeah, right. And so
Yeah.
what got you what were you doing before Playground to sort of inspire creating this?
Yeah, so I'm the boring HR person that you would find in a lot of corporate offices, plonking through my high heels, trying to look the part and do all the things. And whilst I loved that, climbing the corporate ladder, I soon realized I was compromising my ethics and values and beliefs a little bit too much. And the higher I got, the more opportunities and things there were, but the more I got told to look the other way. And
Wow.
certain things just didn't resonate with me. It was more tick in the box exercises. I was always the one trying to do that extra and champion, reconciliation action plans, diversity and inclusion amongst the generalist HR realm of duties as well. And every time I was able to jump on a project and drive it forward, it'd be then, right, as long as you've got that tick in the box or the stamp on your website or the logo on your email signature, we're done. And so there'd be no more funding, there'd be no more initiatives, no more keeping it alive or embedding it. And
Mm.
so I started thinking, how do I not waste all of this? I started thinking HR wasn't for me. And then
Mm.
I went into the mindset of, well, how do I not waste everything that I know and everything that I love about that? And then I stumbled across a concept called ikigai.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's a Japanese reason for being. And I don't know if I ever say that right, but that's how it is in my
Sounds
head.
right. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so you're familiar with that.
I know it. I know. Yeah, I haven't gone deep on it, but I definitely know of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so ultimately it's a little Venn diagram with what does the world need? What are you good at? What can you get paid for? Because we all need to put food
Yeah.
on the table. And what do you love doing? Which sometimes is different to what are you good at? Sometimes we get
Mm.
pushed into certain, different areas and things like that. And then I realized that I made the jump, so a little gap in between there from I took a redundancy and it was the best thing I ever did because then I used that time to really double down on those types of ikigai concepts around who can I serve and how do I do it without just being a tick in the box exercise? And I went, there's amazing small businesses, founders, entrepreneurs, really driven individuals in two camps. One, the ones that have escaped corporate world themselves, and the others that are true entrepreneurs that have never worked a day in their life for somebody else. So they're all self-taught and they really motivate me. So I started Purple Playground about 7 years ago, and with the purpose, as I said, to elevate those businesses. We know HR's a sexy topic. People will go, oh, I've got funding, I'm going to put it towards marketing or new product development or something fun and exciting and branding and stuff. And no one ever goes, yay, I get to put it into HR and compliance and policies and things like that. So, but we do are a necessary, sometimes a grudge purchase, but a very necessary one because you show me a business, even in this day and age of AI as it's escalating, that you can run a successful business without the right people by your side, let alone, to do some of the tasks and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Pretty
that's
cool.
what we do and who we do it for.
Yeah, amazing. Great. Well, thanks for sharing that. And so I'm curious about your funding journey, having recently come into the Tractor Village. Curious to
Mhm.
sort of share with our audience how you've thought about funding, how you've funded it so far, and kind of what your decision making criteria was in moving into bringing into some debt into the business.
Yeah, yeah. So Jem, my business partner, Gemma Eaton, and myself are very, I think it's, not open to a lot of risk, to be honest. So we've bootstrapped Purple Playground right from day dot, and we've managed to be successful to, 7 years in. So
Amazing.
we never really wanted to be in debt. Having the home mortgage is debt enough for us individually. So we've never had funding before or finance or anything like that. But truth be told, been following Tractor Ventures for a long time now. We just love that, startup ecosystem and then the things that you do for that those amazing businesses and leaders and entrepreneurs. And we're very similar in the sense of helping those founders build something steady and dependable and genuinely impactful.
Mm.
And so it really resonated with us. And I did a small chuckle then when you said, tell me about your decision making process around this. So we were looking at what our runway is coming into 2026. We're just about to launch a whole new service offering, being our HR membership, and which is the fourth main service offering that we do. And with that in mind, we were okay, where do we want to go? Resetting goals at this time. And then bam, because I subscribed to Tractor Ventures in my inbox, I was like, Gemma, what do you think about this? And we both just went, we're normally quite, we're typical HR in the sense of we very process driven. We have a system. We work through things methodically, but we're not typical in many other senses. But when it comes to finance, we are, except for this. I don't know what it was. Whoever does your marketing, and I just went, Jem, we need to do this. I interrupted her. We work remotely, but I interrupted her day, and we just went, what have we got to lose? Let's try. Because I always thought Tractor Ventures was not necessarily for a B2B service based business. I always thought it was mainly the ecosystem of tech and that sort of area.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, they're probably just, what's the worst can happen? They can say no.
Yeah.
And my gosh, you guys move fast. So we were super pumped. We were like, oh my gosh, we've got this. And we did the application and Gemma processed it, sent you everything you needed. And so that was our journey. That's why I had a little chuckle around. It wasn't much to sit the shoes behind it. It was more, let's go for it. So
That's great, but I
yeah.
love that. We do have Dan in our marketing team is amazing. But also
Okay.
I do love that you've trusted your instinct. Sometimes it is instinct,
Yeah,
right? Sometimes it's like,
it
oh, this feels right.
was.
It's not like you didn't know who we were. It was just like,
That's right.
actually, we're doing this planning now and this has just bounced in and we should totally try this. I think that's awesome. I think we often ignore our instincts too much in business.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess so, how has that now shaped how you think about funding? You said you're planning next year and you're probably thinking beyond. How do you then think about how else you might fund your growth?
Yeah, great question. Because whilst we haven't been open to any other funding, you know, in the past, we have also been a part of, you might have heard of Coralus, who help female-led businesses and minority groups to fund them through their membership. So we used to be a part of that, knowing that it's quite hard, and hearing the stories, it's quite hard for them to actually get funding a lot of the time because of their home dynamics and if the business is yours and not the male partner and all those things. So
Yeah.
I've been following that journey for a long time, but I feel that us, it's now, well, it's early days. I think it's only been a week that we've had it. And so it's changed our mindset of, look, why not go for it? As you said, trust your instinct, but also the possibilities. It sounds like a little story in my head where it's just going, oh, think of the possibilities. Because one of our taglines is imagine if. And that's just started to percolate with us now around. I initially said to Jem, I want to press go. I want to do this. However, I want to know where I'm going to put the money because there was
Yes.
too many areas. We already knew this many things we wanted to use it for, but then we were
Yeah.
like, okay, where is it best placed? And I think what's most exciting is that I know you've got a support network and some tools and benefits as well to help us along the way as opposed to traditional funding. So we wouldn't be opposed to that in the future. Now we've taken that first leap off the ledge and
Yeah.
gone, look how much it's actually, as I said, put a pep in our step and helped us to go, okay, now we can see what we can do with this and the trajectory. So open to other forms of funding and finance in the future, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's so many interesting questions are coming up for me as you speak, especially on I just got off a panel, we're talking about the state of the market and the crisis of funding for women. And as you alluded to, then you hear the stories. Do you think that that element turns you off, has turned you off? Is that's why you've bootstrapped potentially because you've heard how hard it is and how virtually impossible it is to get external funding?
Yeah, it absolutely has played a part in that. And I guess look, I think this is attributed to a lot of females inside and outside of business, but limited beliefs. And it does make you think that, okay, well, if other people struggle, then there's no way they would do that for us.
I reckon that's definitely a factor. I mean, there's so many factors, but that's interesting. And I think I think that's the thing about being confident with taking debt too, is knowing where you're going to put that money that's going to get you that
Hmm.
return in the shorter term, right? And so you're putting it into activities that's going to bring you extra revenue. And I love that that's giving you a pep in your step because, often as founders, especially as bootstrapped founders, you're just in, not survival, but just like you're just in head down, do what we need to do as opposed to, oh, what if we had this, what would we do?
That's it. When even just the gesture then of saying what if, I think I did that before too, and you just did it. It's really
Yeah.
just around, it does open up possibilities and makes you see things differently from a different perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's fantastic. And so when it comes to leading and managing, and then these are two different things, leadership and management, but what are
Mhm.
your kind of go-tos to share with our audience, especially with your depth of HR experience? What are the things that make a good leader or a good manager, or what do you lean on in your business?
I think the first word that pops out for me is curiosity. It's be
Mhm.
curious about your people. It's not just seeing them as flat, one-sided, two-dimensional. They're three-dimensional. I don't believe in work-life balance. It's life or it's balance. It is the same thing for me, right? And
Yeah,
particularly in this day and age where people can work in so many different ways. And I think if people can focus more on outcomes rather than output, it's not the number of keystrokes that someone's doing or being monitored on their computer. It's what are they producing, and does it really matter if they're producing at 7, 8 o'clock at night when, or even later if they're wanting that time for their family in the day and those sorts of things. So I think as a leader is to show a lot of trust, I think is, and be curious. We promote a good one-on-one structure. A lot of businesses that we work, it doesn't have to be this regimented like it was in my corporate days, sit in four walls and ask questions. How are you doing? Are you meeting your KPIs? It's very
yeah,
back and forth. It's more of a conversation. What's your wins, your challenges? Know where they're at. You'll know if they're a flight risk. You'll know if they're getting restless or if there's something's happening in their lives. And people don't have to share it. I'm quite the ambivert, that in between the introvert and the extrovert, but I feel like people don't have to share every little thing about their life for you to understand them. But if you can be
Mm,
curious, then they will get that sense of belonging. They'll get that sense of feel like they're in that right place and they will be your ambassador. They will help you with trying to achieve, along the way. Because I don't think people, I've heard this before I was a business owner, but I get it now that you will find it be hard pressed to find someone that will actually put in the effort and the dedication and love your business as much as you do.
yeah,
But if you can get people close to that spot because they love what you stand for, they're aligned with your values and your purpose, and you're finding the right people in the beginning, being curious about them, keeping them engaged, showing that you care about them, and it goes both ways. But I always ask my team a question around what is, or if people are having one-on-ones, or even if it's the annual reviews and things, tell me something I don't want to hear. So you're being curious, but then sit back and then brace yourself.
yeah, wow, I like that.
But it doesn't have to be catastrophic and big, right? It could be just something that, oh, and this, you mentioned that in the meeting. I didn't feel it kind of landed that well in the room. And I'm like, oh, thank you, because I might have had a different perspective and read that
Yeah.
differently. What do you think I could have done better? So I think in the differentiating managers and leaders, it's being able to open yourself up to two-way feedback, to
Mm.
having a conversation as opposed to talking at people. And as I said before, really looking at outcomes that are mutually agreed, not just output.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. And I'm hearing creating a safe environment for people to be able to speak
Yeah.
freely and also leading with vulnerability as well. Being
Absolutely,
able
Marie.
to admit that
Absolutely.
you could do it better.
Yeah, that's the key word I missed, but you've nailed it there. It's definitely being vulnerable. And one more thing I'd like to add is I think that for a great culture, for a great working relationships, because it is a relationship, right? Whether you're signing a contract, that's the relationship with you and your employer and vice versa. And I think people only really need two things I've learned in my experience to really thrive individually and then as a team, and that's to feel like they're valued and then to feel like they're adding value. Now, most people get that first one. They feel like they're valued if they're paid right appropriately for the level of work that's required, the hours they're putting in. You get the pat on the back, those sorts
Yeah.
of things, and the recognition. And so that's the reward and recognition. But I think a lot of people forget about they feel like they're adding value. Now, if you've got to hire someone up here to do this level role, then they're not going to last long. They're going to go through the motions and get bored,
Mm. Yeah.
mentally, or vice versa. If you keep stretching someone far beyond, I'm great. I'm all for stretch goals, but far beyond where their fun place is.
Yes.
You've got to have
Then they
that
feel
fun space.
disempowered, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
So feel
opposite.
valued and feel like you're adding value equally as well. And people need to know where you're going. If it's a purpose of the organization or a goal or something, if they feel like they've contributed to that, every day is not sort of ticking off little things, but it's
Yeah.
showing that, hey, I understand today was tough for you, but you're helping us move towards this, and we're getting there, and we're in this together.
Yeah, that's very well articulated. Can tell that you're an expert in this field. Thank you. Thanks so much for sharing all that, Sally.